everyone, it's me Louie and welcome to a new video on Entrepreneur Campfire. In today's video, I'm going to help answer one of the most commonly asked questions new e-commerce sellers in Malaysia and Singapore might have when they're at the beginning stages of starting their first e-commerce store. And that is, should I start on Shopify first or should I get started on Shopee first? To help you answer this question, I'll explain what each platform does and what the pros and cons of selling on either platform are like. So what's Shopee and what does it do? In the e-commerce world, Shopee is what we call a marketplace. It's a platform where sellers will find buyers and buyers will find products from sellers. So if you're a seller or a potential seller, what you'll do on a platform like Shopee is that you'll first create a Shopee store and then you list all the products that you want to sell. So when a potential buyer searches for a product and finds your product, likes your product and decides to buy your product, all that will happen on Shopee itself. So what are the pros of selling on a marketplace like Shopee? The first and probably biggest benefit is that it's free to set up. Instead of paying a few $1,000s to set up an e-commerce storefront, you can get started by paying $0 when you start on Shopee. On top of that, you don't even have to set up your own payment gateway. You can use that is already set up inside Shopee. A payment gateway can easily cost you a few $1,000s in setup fees and a few hundred to a few $1,000s in yearly fees. So with both of these fees being absorbed by Shopee, it makes marketplaces like Shopee a very beginner-friendly place to get started, especially when you don't have a large budget to start with. The second biggest benefit is that Shopee is already the largest marketplace in Malaysia. Arguably, it's even the largest, most popular e-commerce site in Malaysia. At the time of this video, it receives over 40 million visitors a month in Malaysia. That's bigger than the entire population of Malaysia. So it means to say that almost every single Malaysian has a Shopee account and are probably buying most of their necessities on Shopee. These two benefits alone is already enough for most people to just want to get started right away making money through e-commerce on marketplaces like Shopee. But not everything is perfect, so let's take a look at what the cons of selling on Shopee is like. The biggest con of selling on Shopee is the lack of control. First, from a design perspective, you have no way to customize your store to make it unique to your brand image or to make it unique from other stores on Shopee. So what happens is that your store ends up looking like just any other store on the platform. Second, from a fees perspective, when Shopee first launched in Malaysia, it offered sellers $0 fees to sell on its platform. Of course, this is great for Shopee to onboard as many sellers as possible. Now that the platform has matured and gained a lot of dominance in the market, we see that over the years, the fees has gone up and up and up. And this fee is unlikely to go down anytime soon unless a new competitor enters the market. The third biggest con of selling on Shopee is competition. With so many people listing their products for free on Shopee, you're bound to bump into other people selling the exact same products with you, but at a lower price or with better promotions, bundles, and so on. In order for you to stand out, it's most likely that you have to develop a very aggressive pricing and promotion strategy. The risk of all this is the race to the bottom where everybody is just trying to make the sale and earning just a few cents per sale. Now, let's take a look at Shopify. What's Shopify? Shopify is an e-commerce platform that lets you design your own branded e-commerce store. Unlike Shopee, where it's a marketplace, Shopify is the technology that powers online storefronts. So if you're looking to set up your own .com branded e-commerce site, a solution like Shopify would be something you want to use. So what are the pros of selling on Shopify? For me, the biggest pro of selling on Shopify is branding. So unlike selling on a marketplace like Shopee, where you have no control over how your store looks, When you set up a store on Shopify, you'll have the opportunity to set it up any way you want, visually speaking. The sky is literally the limit, probably limited by your own design skills or your imagination. The second biggest pro of selling on Shopify is the control you can have over your entire customer experience. When you sell on a platform like Shopee, they control that experience. What happens when customers or potential customers come to Shopee, how they reach your store, and so on. Those are things that you have no control over when you sell on Shopee. But when you use a platform like Shopify, you'll be able to have granular control from the moment your customer enters your store to the moment they search for a product, looks at a product, reads information about the product, you communicating with them communicating with you, basically the entire customer buying experience. Of course, Shopify isn't perfect, so let's take a look at what are the cons of selling on Shopify versus selling on Shopee. For me, the biggest con is the cost. Unlike on Shopee, where it's free to create and maintain a store, you have to pay Shopify to do that. The monthly fee starts at $29 a month for Shopify Basic and goes up to $2,000 a month for Shopify Plus. On top of that, you also have to pay them a transaction fee every single time a customer buys a product on your store. And this fee starts off at 2% for every single transaction. But it does go down though if you get a more expensive plan. There are also some miscellaneous costs of setting up your store, like buying a premium theme. In case you don't like the free themes, this will cost you another $160 to $180 one time. Or if you don't know how to set up your own store, you might want to hire a Shopify expert. That's another fee. And then the Shopify apps that you want to use to expand your store features, that's another monthly fee. And finally, of course, most important one is the payment gateway. That's a fee that you can't really escape from. Of course, that depends on the type of payment gateway you go for. But if you activate a local one in Malaysia or Singapore, usually that comes with a setup fee and an annual fee. So all of these mean that for people who don't really have a large budget to start off with, or very, very little money, Shopify isn't really the ideal platform for you to get started with an e-commerce business. The second thing about selling on Shopify that you might want to think of is the traffic. So unlike on Shopee, where they're already paying for the marketing that brings traffic to the platform, if you sell on a platform like Shopify, you have to bring in your own traffic, which means you have to spend your own dollars out of pocket to pay for things like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, influencer ads, and so on. If you don't do that, well, guess what? Nobody will come to your store and it will get zero traffic, zero sales. So now that we've taken a look at the pros and cons of selling on Shopee and Shopify, the biggest question for you is, which one should you get started on first? Well, if you ask me, I think that depends on your goal. So if your goal is just to create side income, to supplement your main income, and you don't really care about building a brand, and you also have a very small budget and you don't want to spend it on setting up a store, maybe you want to put it into buying stocks instead, inventory for your shop, then setting a Shopee store would be the better choice. On the other hand, if your goal is not just to sell products online but to build a brand, then Shopify would be the better solution. It gives you the ability to control your store design, customer experience, and basically build anything you want into your e-commerce business. Although if you have a Shopify store, it usually doesn't hurt to also create a Shopee store as part of a multi-channel sales strategy. So I hope you've enjoyed this video where I've compared the differences between selling on Shopee versus selling on Shopify, and this video has helped you in your decision on which platform to sell first, or if you should sell on both platforms. If you've really enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Thanks again for your time and see you again in the next video. Bye bye.